Greetings everyone, and welcome to part 4 of a closer look at Snowtopia. I am the Beard, and it is a pleasure to have you with me. No gameplay in this episode, just some thoughts on Snowtopia that will hopefully give you an idea if you want to get stuck into this title or not. If you have not checked out the first 3 parts of this series, you can do so by clicking on the link which should be appearing in the top right hand corner of your screen right now, and you can see what we got up to. Now, before I get into some of my thoughts of Snowtopia in its current open alpha release stage, I wanted to take a quick look at the settings the game has to offer. It's got all the standard stuff you would expect: general settings, controls, sound, graphics, nothing too amazing, but solid enough for an alpha release. I will, however, note that you can rebind the keys. Well played, devs. It's nice to see this. It's not often something that comes with an alpha release or an early access stage game, so pleased to see that there. Thank you very much for including that. Right, now onto my thoughts on the game itself. All in all, I just have over 6 hours playtime with Snowtopia, including the gameplay featured in the series, so a little bit of time to formulate some initial thoughts on the game, and hopefully this should give you an idea of what you might be getting yourself into should you wish to sink your teeth into this charming little title. So what's Snowtopia all about? Well, the basic idea is not really much of a departure at all from what you would expect from a Tycoon style game, but this time with a bit of a theme change and something that I don't think I've seen before. It comes across as a lovely breath of fresh, crisp air. The game itself calls it a ski slope tycoon, where your goal is to build the ideal ski resort that keeps your patrons smiling all the way down the mountain. You get to do all the things you would expect to be doing in a game like this: planning your ski slopes, building and placing lifts and other essential facilities in order to keep everyone happy. This is a gorgeous little game in my opinion, particularly for something that's only in its alpha release stages. It's smooth, responsive. I had no issues with the frame rate, and the art style suits the charm of the game fantastically, and I only experienced a single bug. Not bad, and that little bug was a man who insisted on skiing on his face, it seemed. Having said this, there's nothing outstandingly new that has been added to the Tycoon game formula, that you'll find yourself engaged in a very simple style or cycle of play. Basically, you're given a chunk of mountain with an area at the bottom that you can call your own. From there, you build various ski lifts as far as the mountains, up at the mountains as they can take you, and then you pair them with ski slopes that you get designed in a wonderful free-form gridless style, possibly one of my favorite aspects of this game. Once it's all set up and you're ready to go, people will start coming in to ski, and then you start the cycle of adding more slopes, upgrading stuff through your research tree, and building a variety of service buildings and checking in on the happiness of skiers in general. The best way to win, if there is such a thing in this game, is to try and get as many skiers up and down the slopes as fast as you possibly can, while catering for a wide range of different skills and ability. Trust me, nail this and you will be golden. I think one of the oddest things about the game, and I'm not sure I liked it to be honest, is a lack of any sort of economy or monetary system. The devs seem to have completely gotten rid of any sign of money or exchange of money and swapped it out for a system whereby your ski resort gains a star rating, and in turn that influences how many volunteers pitch up to work for free. Free work at resorts, ski resorts seem to be the norm. I don't know if that's true in the real world or not. In a way, this acts as a replacement for the standard system of using cash to build and staff buildings. I must say it does take some getting used to, and I suppose you could argue it adds another element of gameplay that you have to balance out that makes it a little bit more interesting, but we'll have to see how people like the idea in the long run. I'm not so sure how well it will fly. As the game is currently in its alpha stage, the following is not really a criticism, but rather additional functions, content, and quality of life elements I would like to see in the full release of the game after having spent 6 hours in it. Firstly, I would love an option added to the lifts that you don't need to demolish essentially everything connected to them if you want to upgrade. I think this is the biggest thing that I'd like to see added in the future, and possibly the most frustrating part of the build through or playthrough so far was having to sort of remove absolutely everything in order to build a new lift. I'd like to see that changed, please. Another thing that would be cool to have added is a day-night cycle. I think that would be nice. How about using the night time as a downtime that could be used to groom the snow for the skiers the next day? I think that would add a really nice, interesting management element to the game. I'd also love to see a larger ski patrol building. The number of times I had what it seemed like hundreds of skiers who needed assistances was insane, and perhaps some sort of balancing work could be done there too. I would also love to have the option to move buildings and possibly even ski runs themselves instead of having to demolish and rebuild them entirely. I think that probably links to my request for the upgradable ski lifts as well. Another thing I'd like to see that was missing, I felt, was any form of terraforming or landscaping tools or options. Adding those would be amazing. I think those are coming from what I could infer by the game's user interface. I really do hope they would be added, particularly the terraforming and some level of decoration. That would be really nice. Then I think it would be amazing to have a way to connect your various ski villages together with something like a train or a bus system. Perhaps this is a bit of a pipe dream, but I think it would be an amazing layer to add to the game. At the moment, the only way skiers can travel between your various resorts is to ski there. And I'd like to see some sort of other additional layer added to that. And then lastly, snowboarders. Where are the snowboarders? They are almost potentially definitely coming in future updates, but I'm not a skier. I live in South Africa. I do not see snow that often, but even I miss the snowboarders. It would be nice to see some snowboarders. Right, that's just my requests for the games after more functionality and additional things that I'd like to see added to the game further down the line. Just some thoughts there. However, I think that it is completely evident that the developers, who are called T2, have put a massive amount of love into this game already, and there's a huge amount of potential and space to grow. It's lovely to see a game with such a solid base to work from, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one develops. The things that I loved the most were sort of scanning the mountains and looking for good places to plot out new slopes, the juggle of finding room for a good slope run, while getting a ski lift in to get everyone up there is somehow hugely satisfying, especially when the slope is in operation and you get to zoom in close and watch the little skiers sort of zoom down the mountain. Quite relaxing and very charming. But most of all, I love how such a simple objective has resulted in a game where there's just a lot more going on than meets the eye, and if all the hustle and bustle is just a little bit too much for you, you can always head off into the mountains and find a spot to be alone with your thoughts. So my final thoughts: the game is still very light on content side, but clearly has been made with passion, and the direction they want to take the game is there, and the core mechanics and features are solid, and I can see the content addition path very clearly. I think there's some fundamental design choices that have been made that might put some people off. I think the biggest one being the lack of any sort of money-driven economy, which to me really severely takes away from the Tycoon side of the game, and I'm not quite sure it's been balanced out correctly with the other elements that have been added, but let's wait and see. However, if you do like to see things like ticket prices, food costs and staff salaries, this one might not be for you. If they do not annoy you, design choices like that, there is a real charming little Tycoon game brewing here that I'm very much fond of already and looking forward to watching its development, and this is definitely going to be something I keep my eye on. If you have not checked it out and would like to see some more gameplay in detail, please check out part 1, 2 and 3 of this series and let me know what you think. Does Snowtopia tickle your fancy? Is it something you're considering sinking your teeth into? And if you would please do, and if you do, please do support the developers and grab a copy of Steam. There's a link in the description below, or head to the developer's site and grab a copy of the demo and play it for free. There's a link to that in the comments as well. Right, that's all from me, the Beard. I'm gonna head back to the slopes. I hope you enjoyed this 4-part series. If you have, please consider smashing that like button and or subscribing to the channel if you have not already. I really appreciate your support. Until next time, stay safe, wash those hands, wear a mask. I am the Beard, signing out.